Chag Sabayach.
Wait, just a second. Okay, now.
Yo.
And then you just inform me about 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, yo, Shmuel, you got a tree. It's beautiful. And then we get to start off talking about nature, which is a very essential part of Sukkot. You know, we have the minim. And Chazal say that each one of these minim represents a different type of Yid, a different type of Israelite, a different type of human. You know? Ezra smells good, other stuff tastes good, Ezra tastes good, Adasim smell good. Rovos don't have either. You know? So, and then Ezra is just like the tall people in society. And you know, they all come together on Sukkot. And so we're all coming together on this Sukkot, Erev Shemitah, during the COVID 1984 Plandemic, to come in, learn some Torah, Zman Simchasenu, try to keep us inside, they try to keep us afraid, they try to keep us apart. So first of all, I want to just welcome everyone and wish them a Chag Sabayach. Sabayach, yo. We're holding in Sukkot. Zman Simcha, saying the time of Simcha. We have to understand the kesher. Sukkot, Simcha. We'll maybe discuss that later. Shteitin Pasuk, why are we sitting in Sukkah? It says in the Pasuk, in the Torah, it says, why are we sitting in Sukkahs? So it says, Leman yedu dorosechem ki besukot hoshavti et bnei Israel b'hotzesi osam eretz Mitzrayim, so that the generations will know that in Sukkot I gave bnei Israel to sit in sukkahs, and I let them sit in and I brought them through the whole the midbar idea. To say some Eretz Mitzrayim and left Mitzrayim. So the Torah tells us that it's din l'man yedu, that we have to know, so that we should know. L'man yedu. We sit in sukkahs so we should know, and it's interesting because usually mitzvahs tzrichas kavana, and a mitzvah needs intent. We say that it's good that it doesn't need it, but here the Torah talks about that specifically, like to know why we're sitting in sukkahs. Part of the mitzvah of sukkah is to know why we're sitting in sukkahs. There's a mighty dikka gemara in Sukkot Daf Yud Aleph Amud Beis, which I think is the basis of our understanding why we're sitting in Sukkot. The Machlaikes, Rabbi Eliezer ben Horganes and Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Eliezer ben Horganes says that a sukkah is reminiscent of the miracle that God did. L'man yedu, so that we should remember that we were in sukkahs, to remember the reminiscence of that amazing miracle on Nanei HaKavod. It was these clouds of glory. You know, maybe I'll just now I can see you guys without a tree in the middle. Oh, David, shalom aleichem. What's up? So, that's what Rabbi Eliezer ben Horganes says. Rabbi Akiva says that it was Sukkot Mamish. It was Mamish. They were sitting in regular huts. And the question is a Bavasta question. The question is a question that everyone needs to ask when they get to this Gemara. That why, if it was, according to Rabbi Akiva, that it was just regular huts that they were in, and it's not the Nanei HaKavod, then why is it so amazing, something that we need to make a holiday commemorating? if it was just making a sukkah. Just making a hut. Oh, they made huts, it's a big deal. Oh, it was clouds. That's one thing. But they made huts, we made huts. What's so special about that? So the Torah talks about this. The Torah asks this question. And he answers this question with another question. Says the Torah. By the way, who knows who the Torah was? Anyone know the Torah?
Grandfather Rush.
The son of the Rush. Very correct. The Baal Turim. Yeah, exactly. Well, the Baal Turim is his parish on the Chumash. Because they told the Torah, you only know halacha. He's like, I'll show you. And then here's a parish on Chumash. Here's a parish on Chumash that Taka deals with gematrias and stuff. So the Torah answers our question, what's so special about regular sukkah, regular huts, with another question, which is, why are we celebrating Sukkot in Tishrei? If it's Zecher Mitzias Mitzrayim, so then it should Lechere be in Nisan, right? Like Zecher Mitzias Mitzrayim. Why is Sukkot in Tishrei? You guys hear the kasha? Yeah, it's a head scratcher.
Great question.
It's a great question. So, and for the Torah, and for the Baal Turim, that everyone in Nisan time, that's prime Sukkah sitting time, everyone's going into the huts and into the zulas and into the place where they're chilling. Right? Everyone's going in. That's summertime. However, by Tishrei it's starting to get colder. People are starting to put their sukkahs away. And we're like, now we're going out. The time when everyone else is like, according to the nature. Listen, Sukkah is a holiday all about nature. Look, we got our lulav, our adazim, our rabbis, our esrei, all different types of people coming together. And we're shaking them. It's reminiscent of a dance party with all types of humans. And so Sukkah is a holiday about nature. But it's also 8 days. And it's L'mala min HaTeva. And so the Sukkah, the Torah, the reason why Sukkot is in Tishrei is because we're showing the world when everyone's going into the house, leaving their sukkahs, we're like, now's the time. And it's interesting. That's the time when everyone's in their house. Because we happen to be in a time where everyone's in the house. We're right in smack dab in the middle of Corona Zeit. We're in the throes of the Plandemic. PSYOP holocaust, known as COVID-19, perpetuated by Bill Gates. And we're told, stay in your house. Stay in your house, and in your house wear 2 masks. Wear 1 mask and another mask. That's what we're told. And so Sukkot is the idea of going out of what's comfortable. Because for some people, it's uncomfortable even to have a thought of a shadow of an idea that maybe the mainstream media is really being controlled of people without our best interests. And the idea is so foreign it can't be. And they've built their entire life over like this idea that we are that this is the way things are in the mainstream media. The mainstream media is the mainstream media, and they had no agenda. And yeah, they really believe that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide.
Who committed
Jeffrey Epstein.
No one believes it.
I know no one believes that, but there are people who are so clinging to the mainstream media. No, if that's broken, what do I have left? My whole life is based on this understanding. What can I possibly do if my life is, if I'm outside of the house? I have my comfort. I'm outside of the house. That's Sukkot. We leave the Diras Keva, and we go to the Diras Arai, and we say, okay, maybe let me try to think of a different mind. Maybe I can take a step outside. I'm not going to automatically get a MAGA hat if I go outside. Maybe I can take a step. Maybe I can check what's up. Right? And it's a tough thought to accept. But that's the idea of Emunah, of Sukkot, that we believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to. He has our back because we are Him. Right? We are all Chelik Eloha. And that's the idea of Simchas Sukkot. Right? And we understand that's the Shabbat Mayim is a somewhere Simchas Beis HaShoava. Everyone's chilling. You know, the Rambam says the mitzvah is yantif, like Ava Pisha and Mekaymin as a mitzvah with Korban Shlamim, Korban Chagiga. Still, Kol Echad, everyone can Mekayim the mitzvah of Simcha, Kol Echad Echad Kira Oila. Right? Yesh L'Kol, we have to, everyone's got to do what makes them happy. You know, especially on Sukkot, we got to focus on the SuperChill, we got to focus on chilling. You know, the Rambam learns the mitzvah of Simcha from in V'samachta v'chagecha. He talks about it. Ayin Sham. It's very beautiful. And the Rambam talks about. He says that someone who he parties and he has his family and his people and his wife and everyone, and he's chilling face, but he locks his doors. Ain zeh Simchas mitzvah, ela Simchas karisai. It's not simcha mitzvah, it's just simcha of his boich, of his stomach. Real simcha is being able to share with everyone around us. Share the SuperChill. The Rambam says, La'aniyim u'lamari hanafesh, to poor people and to bitter-souled people. Right? And so it's like important to share financially, and it's important to share. If you got that chill, if you have an insight into human psyche, yo, it's very important to share that with other people, to help people grow. That's what we're all about, is helping elevate the world in consciousness. And on that note, Rabbi Zai, I have a game. But I'm thinking, before this game, we just talked a little about Corona. Maybe I'm going to do the first song of my new album, Corona Opportunity. What do you guys think?
Do it.
All right, we're gonna do it. Coming up soon is a gra. I'll tell you a story about a gra. Who knows who the gra was? Yeah.
Who really knows who the grower?
But who knows who the gra was, even
You
by
did a
name?
great job with the Rambam. I'm waiting for the grower.
All right. So I'll tell you a story. About the gra. His name was Eliyahu Kramer. He was a Gaon. They call him a Gaon Rebbe Eliyahu. I'll tell you a story. Rebbe once told me that his Rebbe, Reb Soloveitchik, once told him that his father once told him that when he was a young boy, he met an old man who told him that when he was a young merchant, young man, he met an old merchant who said that when he was a young man, he saw the game. That's the story. You ready on this?
Yeah.
Alright, so that's the story. That my Rebbe, his father, met someone who saw the gra. And apparently he was very tall. And we're about to learn a gra after the song. That is sweet as honey, sweet as sour sticks fried in honey. We ready on the beats over there?
It's exciting when you win, it's exciting when you lose, because the process should be exactly the same. But the hardest thing is to face that stuff.
Yo, please on the biggity beats, lickety plural. From every trauma cultivating opportunity, and through Corona we courage to foster unity. Words greater than the etymology of eulogy, like you could be. If you choose to view the good in things, maybe they can never them to get into fine tune some things. But I'd be blessed indefinitely, getting booty regularly, rapping like I'm Hercules with no less than 5 beauty queens. You know I still go through some swings of fire, breathing circuitry, ruin the seclusion scene, but I be doing beautifully, even through the quarantine perspective. Awesome, all I see, thundering, OKC, going forward globally, rapping with the hounds of love and teaching don't remotely. A salmon swimming up the stream, paddleless up the creek. Can induce super chill without having y'all with me. Stupid heaves wondering to who PASHUT is referring. I'm lucidly the reefer king and dogging to all human beings. Getting high, calling over stupid bees. Shedding light all over my neural receptors. We neurodivergent be certainly special recycle D, psyche D, light where he renders. Decipher direction of angels and tangle with angle perspectives like nuclear fusion of lucrative lessons. You get into choosing collecting the chance. True recommend you review the depths of the crew and attention, crew and ascension, screw and centuries, screwing the human death. Misplaying their hand like it's smashed in a window. And here it's our rickety wrecked in a pickle. Heaven's calls, missed again, 7 falls, lift again, zestful lark, interim, Kevin Hart's Instagram, stuck in my mind so I slam on the pedal. Yiddish drink, Eminem, infinite, infrared, fins on a riverbed, everyone, gingerbread, stuck in my mind so I sit in Gretel. Grim on my roof like a head in a fiddle. Madness was my method, advanced through the struggle. Hazardous shepherd can wear me a muzzle. We quest peace together like sharing a puzzle. Like when I be lamping with girlies, that's Muslim. Makumba, Basbusa, yeah, all of its structures. Ishmael's our uncle, we're technically cousins. When haters arise, we just shrug and go fuck them. Salmon swimming up the stream, paddleless up the creek. Can induce super chill without having y'all with me. Stupid heaves wondering to who PASHUT is referring. I'm lucidly the reefer king and talking to all human beings. Oh yeah, I'm gonna use it. Your whole wife's baby crying.
Another one.
Oh man.
Another one.
No, you,
Oh,
you
we'll
have
do
that
another one,
effect
another
on
one.
all the girls from young to old. They cry for you. They be crying about it.
Yeah, we need
You're a superstar.
bro, we're all superstars. They say that's the difference between a super villain and a superhero. Is they're both super, but the super villain's like, oh wow, I'm so super. Now I can like use that superiority or whatever. I can use that amazingness, and I can use it so that, like the whole world will to control the whole world, so that they can serve me and like acknowledge how super a super person could say. But then that's a super villain though. But a superhero, he says, wow, I'm so great. Ibaze! Therefore, everyone is so great. But if we're talking of greatness, and that's a superhero. The superhero elevates world consciousness. The superhero never loses his lighter. Oh, here.
Never.
Alright, we have a game that I learned from my friend, Shua Drang. Told me over this gra. Gotta say, B'Shem Omro.
What did you say his name was? Sewer Drain?
Shua Drang. My dear friend.
Sewer Drain. Drain.
No. Shua Drang, sei gesund und stark. My dear friend,
120 kilos.
my dear friend who will, Amir Hashem, join us here in Gula Soul sometime soon. either here or from afar, but you know, sure Jay, want to give him a shout out. I want to wish him hatzlacha in starting Geula show in America, the American brand. I want to wish you a drink hatzlacha. Reb, wish you a drink. Alright. So now what's up for it's time for a gra. You guys ready for this gra? The gra says that after Cheta Egel, right? The question is, why are we celebrating Sukkot in Tishrei? The Torah said this answer, like, oh, it's Laman Yedu, right? We wouldn't be Yotzei Laman Yedu. It's a good answer, right? They wouldn't know that, like, oh, we're specifically going out because it's mitzvah Kadosh Baruch Hu to remember his hashgacha, because the midbar, the desert, was a tough place to live, and so that's the zecher. But the Gra says an amazing word. The Gra says, if you remember, and this word actually only works for Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkenes. This word doesn't work for Rabbi Akiva, who says that it was actual huts. And we said the reason that you're doing this is to remember the hashgacha. And then so the Torah could work to explain Rabbi Akiva, who says it's actual huts. But the Gra says a word explaining Rabbi Eliezer ben Horkenes. Rabbi Horkenes says that it was actual Anania Kavod. It was actually, the Sukkah is just a zecher. It's just a remembrance to the clouds of glory. Says the Gra, we lost the clouds of glory, B'cheta Egel. When did we get them back?
By Purim.
Who said Yom Kippur? That's correct. Yeah, no, Yom Kippur is right. When Moshe came down with the Luchos, right? When Moshe came down with the Luchos,
Guys,
when Moshe came down,
Aaron told us that.
when Moshe came down with the Luchos, the Anania Kavod came back, and then we built the Mishkan, and so the Sukkot is mamish right on time. It's not a question, why don't we do it by Yetzias Mitzrayim? Because it's not only a thing about Yetzias Mitzrayim, it's also an inyan of that was the time that the Anania Kavod came back and continued the Hashgacha and repaired the relationship. And what's interesting is that was when the Mishkan was born, and the Mishkan in English is called tabernacle. Oh, and Sukkot is tabernacle. Okay, Rubeni, Tavi.
Alek Shatori, Kuba. Libim Namet Chodafez.
The Gra says that the Anania Kavod came back, and so this is the time. This is the time that we celebrate Sukkot. It's perfectly on time. It's not a question. Why is it not in Nisan if it's Yetzias Mitzrayim? Because this is when the Anania Kavod came back. And Taka, the Mishnah Brura, says that if you want to be Yotzei, most mitzvahs don't need kavana. But here, since it says Laman Yedu, if you want to be Yotzei, the mitzvah Kitikuna, if you want to be Yotzei, the mitzvah of Shiva Sukkah, as it's supposed to be, then you have to have kavana for both Sukkah's Mamish and Anania Kavod. Now we have another Mevaser of the Gula. רובני, אתה רוצה לומר משהו?
זכו לשנים רבות, נעימות וטובות, ודרך ארץ קדמה לתורה להעביר לכולם. היי!
Reuben Rubeni is a true Persian Jew who has never given up his heritage despite tremendous pressure against him.
Woo! Give it up for Rubeni! I'm going to end here with a final thought. with a vort that is super, super beautiful. I'm thinking, but maybe you guys want to hear a song which is super beautiful into the vort. Woohoo! Yeah? If you guys are down, you guys are down.
Oh, yeah.
I'm down to do either one. They're both beautiful. We could do Wuhan.
Okay, great.
Okay, this is the second song of my. And I'm ready, my brother. I'm ready. Wait, hold on. Let me cough. Say weed is a cure for corona. Then you have an excuse why you're coughing in public. Yeah, what's up?
Ready?
Yeah.
Good.
I need you to use the power of your Erkin robot brain to create a song about peace.
Men in suits in offices would dictate our consciousness. Milchem as Gogu Mago, bitch. This is Shibud Malchias. Oh, there's Shmuel. What's he doing? I'm steigen da, steigen da. What I become when times get tough, this pilot's nothing. Flies far, maneuvers there with Keenan Gar, like Keenan Thompson. That's what's up. Who's gonna shout linguistic mush? Who gives a what? Can look with one. Showing ingenuity, concerning confusion, humility, burning to soothe it to humans, to tune it to chupa, with shuttles, gula, alam this maneuver, mitch love this maneuvering, upslug the guna, get him, get staying uber and stupid, and truthfully, usually you could see. I'm too chewed up, my rude awakenings. Shmuel screws up, a few a day it seems. Used to be I blew up from too much anger, refuse to wait in me. Cue up, aim at me, shoot up, move up basically, shoot some flakes at me. Cruise cooks too much, suit up achingly. A crew runs patiently, you going crazy be. Universe raised the thing. Like Buddha's sayings bring. I got a Wuhan way with things. Here you come, lunging with a screwed up face at me. What you gonna do, huh? In lieu of face of these, I'ma groom it up like a crew cup fade. Scooch up, say to a cool up, babe. I do drugs too much for you, tucking strew on. I'm bruised up, I lose thoughts, abuse lungs, and true love, basically. Pure waste, but I'm enthused persuasively. Pure originally introduces, amazes me, ruining your innocence. Saves of engagement rings, lays them with greater things. If you could gain at least cognitive dissonance, this is basically all these bitches is O's and they chasing me. First they get into me, claiming I'm interesting, till they see crazy me, then spray away from me. All my existence, I'm conscious replaying things. Crave bride, insaner schemes, then by Invader Z. 3 mice were made to be lined by faith to see. This is my strength, cuties, that I'm insane, you see. My brain will later be prized by some greater beings, but it's not a privilege, it's sort of alarming to be the villain life, destroying a rhyme scheme. My god of disarming, the psilocybin, distant but charming, a G-spot stiff arming, the gods all adore, who alleviate toxins from people who suffer because of the doctrine, proper in theories of nonsense and problems. Why would God want this if we're all part of him?
Woo! Ow!
State the Gemara, Menacha is the babies. Amud Beis. I don't know. But state the Gemara, Menacha is Daf Beis Amud Aleph. A machlokes Rebbe Lazar and Rebbe Akiva. There's another machlokes. Rebbe Lazar and Rebbe Akiva. Rabbi Yechiel Michal Epstein tells this effect in HaShoava. Havar. We're learning in yeshiva. I don't know if you guys know. We're learning Shemitah, and we're learning Aruch HaShulchan Asid, that things that he wrote about for Yemos HaMashiach. And now we're learning in Halacha L'Maisa in Reuveni's land with this giant of a human being in wisdom. It's a big schus. It's a big schus. So Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Eliezer says that you can only bring Korban Pesach. You can only bring Korban Pesach from chulin, from mundane animals, not from. You can't bring them from Meiser. You can't bring them from something that you've tithed and given to the Levi. Why not? Because something that you've tithed. Because in Pesach and Mitzrayim there was no Meiser. In Pesach and Mitzrayim there was no Meiser. And so if there's no Meiser in the Pesach and Mitzrayim, so then we learn from there that there's no Meiser that you can only bring from chulin, from a mundane animal. And Rabbi Akiva says no. Ein danin efshar mishi efshar. We can't learn a law. We can't learn a law for generations from something which is impossible. Right? We can't learn a law from generations from something which is impossible, which you can't, right? Because there was impossible that there would be tithes and meiser in Mitzrayim because those laws weren't given to us yet. So Rabbi Eliezer ben Organis says you can learn efshar from efshar. You can learn possible from impossible. And Rabbi Akiva says no, you can't. So therefore you can also bring meiser for Korban Pesach. And the Aruch HaShulchan, Rabbi Yechiel Michal Halevi Epstein says that this is the same achlokas by Sukkot. That when Rabbi Eliezer ben Organis wants to learn from Anani HaKavod, when Rabbi Eliezer ben Organis wants to learn from Anani HaKavod, he says, we can learn from Anani HaKavod because we are done in Efshar Me'i Efshar. We can learn from Anani HaKavod because we learn from something which cannot be, which is unfathomable, into something which is fathomable. Right? We learn Efshar Me'i Efshar. Rabbi Eliezer ben Organis says we do that, so therefore, even if it was Ananei HaKavod, even if it was the clouds, we can learn laws about Sukkot, about the huts, about the Sukkah, on Sukkot. But Rabbi Akiva, who says we do not dan Efshar from Efshar, that we don't learn possible from impossible. So for Rabbi Akiva, he had to say that there were actual huts. And that is a beautiful, beautiful Lishi Tasso. You know? We're standing here in Zman Simchasenu towards the end, and sometimes it looks impossible. Sometimes it looks impossible to heal, impossible to get over this thing, and to get over that thing. Oh yeah, didn't I have a mic? Sometimes it looks impossible to hold on to the mic. You know? Sometimes it looks impossible to go on. That's the idea of Sukkot, right? Sometimes we get comfortable in that impossibility. We get comfortable in, okay, it can't be changed, and like, okay, fine, at least I know that my life is like, at least I know, like, okay, fine, so like, now, like, okay, I messed up. Like, we get comfortable in thinking that. We have to go outside of the thought, even the thought that we hold so close. Sometimes, in Adam Lomed, right? This is the laws, right? We learned that in Adam Lomed, right? In Torah Niknes, you can't acquire the Torah. Elim Mamis Atzmo, right? If the kid kill. Well, I like the Sukkah metaphor better. Sukkah metaphor. Just go outside for a little bit of the thoughts and try to think. Well, it could be different. Because whatever we're struggling with, it doesn't have to be that way. Because every struggle is manageable if you know how to think right about that struggle. If you know how to think, if you have perspective, you know how to control our thoughts. If we can control our thoughts and not be subject to the shibud malchias of a thought, we can get to major levels of simchasenu. And it's Sukkot, Zman Simchasenu. Thinking I have a little bit more tej, and maybe do one more song.
2 more songs.
2 more songs. Well, there's no more tej.
5 more songs.
5 more songs.
Come on.
Yeah.
Shimon's on it.
All right, so we got Yid on the tej mesh.
We want more songs.
Yo, let's sing a song. the most important song of nowadays. We're on Sukkot, but the most important song of nowadays is a very beautiful song that, like, there are a lot of people who do not know what's going on. Not only do they not know what's going on, but they've encircled themselves with only people who do not know what's going on. And so they're like blind people in the dark that they not only can they not see, but they cannot be helped.
It's called herd insanity.
Herd insanity is the way to put it. I don't know. Listen, everyone's steiging, everyone's figuring it out, everyone's gonna figure it out. And this next song is a song that, even in tough times, it's for all of us, right? It's for all of the world. Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael,
Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael, Hanesunim B'Torah U'Hashivya, Omdim Bein Bayam U'Bein Bayabasha. Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael, Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael, Hanesunim B'Torah U'Hashivya, Omdim Bein Bayam U'Bein Bayabasha. Hamakom Yerachem, Yerachem Aleim, Yotziim Mitzara, Livacha, U'me'afel Aliyora, Mishiabud, Legeula Ashta, Bagala Uvizman Korim. Hamakom Yerachem, Yerachem Aleichem, Yotziim Mitzara, Livacha, U'me'afel Aliyora, Mishiabud, Legeula Ashta, Bagala Uvizman Korim.
So, we got the next song coming on. First of all, guys, that was beautiful. And we really do, we have Yidden all over the world, and we have humans all over the world who don't know what's going on. We have humans around the world who do know what's going on. And we're meeting up, like we're talking, we know about each other. And worry, do not. Worry, question mark, do not, yo. Of course not. It's not even a hava amina. If you think to yourself, oh, maybe I'll worry, bro. That's the emunah. That's the emunah of Sukkot. That's the emunah of just going out into nature, shaking things. Dancing, partying. You got a tej, you got a jig. Everyone's got to do. What makes them happy. Kol echad v'echad kara'oi lo. This next song is called False Flags Flicker. We used to call it Relock and Charm. Give me a 10-second count. Let's see. Oh. You should know that coughing runs in my family. I'll tell you a story about my grandma sometime. My beloved grandma. She's chilling. She's like a real matriarch of the SuperChill. Alright, let's do it. Let's do it, yo. Song is dedicated to the humanity. False flags flicker in the air, and we don't even know what's there. Occasionally prone to overshare, but They'll never say, PASHUT doesn't care. Why would God want this? We are all part of it. I think she would want us to have a cathartic expression, emotion, repressed and retarded. I think about this when I'm doped at a party. When doped in quarantine, we're gonna kiss it. The police say we oughtn't be. Running the street and the fountain, the water, be missing for weeks, cause the world be a war scene. Poor shorty. Being with me was for her like morphine. She called me her tati, her opium poppy. Addicted, addictive, extremely unhealthy. Constantly bugging, the smallest things bother me. But then there's that part of me that they have so much fun with me. Cause I've been freaky for eons, like 3,000 Fridays. I'm relocking charm, cause these bees gotta be quarantined. Those flags flicker in the air, and we don't even know what's there. Push Jussie Smollett just to fuck with our heads. Crushing the discussions, the Prussians are here.
Gotta deal with it. Face it, learn from it. You look at it and say, oh, here's the mismatch. Oh, there's the cat. You know, and all those little things and such. But I don't want to have that funny energy, right? So you gotta really study it and face it. The game's not moving that fast. You can really recognize who's doing what and why.
The best defense is offense, egregiously offensive. I sleep not just farming, don't need no Clonexes. Just prenup redemption from misogynistic processes causing orthodox hostages. Explicit conditions, our shepherds equipped with. Instead of just kicking them into submission, which is forbidden, isn't risking prison. I like to sit heartless, cross-legged, indifferent. I'm relogging charm, because these bees gotta be on quarantine. Flicker in the air, and we don't even know what's there. Germany 33, heard the screams of Reichstag. I'm urgently alert, and G's emergency is right now. Cause very same group, let's a name to dictate Kuka and the YouTube. I sense the sentence curveballs, smell the olfactory, not see it too soon. Not seasoned sploosh soup, these jumbo liars. Alphabet Nutus in jambalaya, spelling out Bill Gates on the Lolita World Wide Web. Here comes the spider, will to power like Friedrich Nietzsche. What highway Miley attempts to leech ya. We isn't worried, he'll never beat us. If you ain't scared, G, I love to teach ya. Jeffrey Epstein, sex ring pedophilia. Just juxtapose it to Jocelyn Maxwell, Jussie Smollett, and the questionless media. Divide and conquer through pop propaganda they carefully feeding ya. So dears, if you're fed up, transcend, scare attack docs, cast fear, and hands up. Middle phalange to the man what? Pass judge to bend down, pig mouth, skid car. Cause we just want peace, man. We done with this shit. And fuck the police state, shadow government shit.
Yeehaw! Done.